Hi everybody, it's 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. It's time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. There's plenty of rugby to bet on this weekend. We're going to get stuck into all 7 Super Rugby fixtures. We'll also talk about Six Nations. I haven't been following too closely. I think we've only got 2 games of Six Nations, though, with the Italy game being postponed. And yeah, anything else that catches the boys' eyes? We've got 2 guests. Henrik Swart taking a bit of a break this week. I said I wanted him fresh for next week, so he's off, but we've got a couple of big guns here joining us, and let's start at the top. He's looking in fine shape. I don't know if he's lost weight. Perhaps he hasn't been able to afford food. I don't know what it is, but Gavin Cohen, aka the Oracle. Gavin, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. I just had a bit of a haircut, that's all. Nothing much. I shaved and I had a haircut. Well, I shaved a week ago. It looks like I need to have another shave, but yeah, it's not as bad as it has been in the past.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show. Just to let you know, as Gary did, we were on the Gary show before. I'm busy organising the Good for the Game Horse Racing Syndicate. I hate admin, and I'm trying to get some. And I took about a week to pay you the 500 Rand that you won off me in the live chat on last week's show. But just to let you know that hit your account tonight. Well, it was sent from my account tonight, so it should hit you in the next couple of days. And I know you cleaned up last week because Henrik paid you, and so did the conductor, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
yeah, the conductor was hanging around. He was lurking on the WhatsApp group on Saturday afternoon. I got involved in the Bulls game, and he duly won his 500 Rand back. So well done there. I was horrified at that game, I must be honest.
Oh, okay. So he won his back. Well, let's welcome the conductor. Conductor, is that a Proteas cricket shirt you're wearing? Yeah, you've pulled that one out and dusted it off, have you?
Well, yeah. Well, but let me just. I've had this for a while. Let me just see if we can see it's on the back there, Brett. Can you see that?
Yes.
I was supporting Kuni well before it was popular, but what a good win against a really good Aussie side. I mean, you can't really say they were missing too many guys, and really incredible performances there by Klaasen in the first ODI. Then a rising superstar looks like it with Yanaman Malan last night. And Ngidi as well is hitting the straps, and it just seems like the attitude in the camp is completely different from about 2 months ago.
Excellent. Well, hopefully the management is making a difference there. And there is, of course, the third ODI to look forward to this weekend for those getting involved in cricket punting. But, gents, of course, we're all about the rugby punting, and no fewer than 3 matches taking place on Friday afternoon. I've got a day's leave, but unfortunately I haven't. Well, I'm quite happy about it, but I haven't got it to watch Super Rugby. I've taken it just to watch water polo. Both my son and daughter played in a water polo tournament. I'll be watching 6 games of water polo, and I won't be betting on those tomorrow. But starting off tomorrow morning, conductor, we'll get going with you. This was meant to be a Sunwolves home game. It's now effectively, I suppose you'd argue, it's more of a Brumbies, more of a who they play now. I blanked there for a second, but it's more of a home game for the Australian side than for them. Yes. So what do you make of this game? It's a big handicap. The Brumbies minus 28.5.
Yeah, Brent, it's an interesting thing. I mean, as I said, it's a double header on tomorrow morning. Would be obviously Australia Friday night, playing in Wollongong. It's just a bit south of Sydney. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures we put on the group with regards to the look of the stadium and the way it's positioned. It's basically it's almost on the beach there in Wollongong, very exposed to the elements. So if there's a bit of rain, a bit of wind, it looks like there's about 60% humidity, 70% humidity. So the guys are going to feel every bit of that. So for that first game, it's an earlier kickoff. I quite fancy the points play there. Look, I think that points is as Son of the Punts points out this morning. It's sitting at 60. You would have lost. I think you would have lost 3 out of 5 times on that handicap with them playing. But the reason I like the unders is obviously the weather conditions, a bit of rain, a bit of humidity, and then obviously Federico and Salmi. To me, man, he can kill 25 minutes of a game very, very easily with his reffing style. Man, the way he reffed against Hurricanes and Brumbies, Hurricanes and Sunwolves. I mean, he just let the guys just sort of idle on in scrums and didn't hurry up play, etc. So I can easily see this being an under 60 play for me. I will go also small interest on Brumbies minus, but I see the Sunwolves have brought back all their sort of bigger name players. I expect them to be a little bit better this week than last week. That's why I'm angling towards that unders play there.
Under 60.5 for you there. Gavin, this game going to get any of your attention?
Yeah, a couple of things first. I'd like to just touch on Ruan Faris suggesting I look a little lighter. Well, Ruan, if you knew me about 4 years ago, I was touching the 95 kilogram line. I know that Brent's on the 130 line, but I'm a lot lighter than that. I'm down to about 82. So, yes, I have lost weight, but it certainly wasn't between this show and the last show. I think probably about 100 grams lighter than I was the last time. So nothing in it. Going back to the conductor's comments of the ground, yeah, you just got to do a Google Earth search here. And it appears to me, I could be wrong, but conductor, you can point me out if I'm wrong. It looks like the stand side, or should I say the ground side that's on the seaside, isn't a stand. It's almost like they're allowing people to have a view if they're not enjoying the game. I don't know if I saw it correctly, but that's what it looked like to me. So, yeah, this I always thought that Cape Town was pretty close to the ocean. And we all know in English football that Fulham is pretty much on the Thames River. This ground looks like it's, in the water. It's literally right there. So, yeah, a bit of a breeze comes off the ocean. It's going to affect it. I know that there's a couple of decent guys coming back. I don't really watch too many referees, as most of you guys do know. But I've been watching this Insolmi guy from Argentina. In fact, he cut his teeth playing or refereeing sevens. Obviously, he did school and junior stuff in Argentina. But once he got into the international team, he was the one of the sevens refs. And I got to tell you, back at work, we used to call him Smiley because he never smiled. He was the guy that it didn't matter if a guy cracked a leg, he just never smiled. He had the same facial expression the entire time. So I haven't analysed him, so I don't know whether he's good for points or bad for points. Personally, I'm having a small play here on the plus. It does seem too high. It's 28. There's a big 2 before the number. I know that we've had sort of 40s and 30 odd handicaps of the Sunwolves team. But I don't know. This just feels too much. I know it's not a home game for them. It's definitely not a home game for the Brumbies. If the Lions had to come down to Durban and play an Australian team or New Zealand team, you can't call that a home game. It's not a home game. So it's the same kind of concept. I think the weather looks quite bad. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be great, should I say. So it's south of great, south of Sydney. We're all south of Sydney. I'm on the plus here. Not a lot, but I'm definitely on the plus.
Right, on the plus there. The points is going to be interesting. I tend to agree with you there, conductor. I'm looking at probably going unders there. Just something I noticed, which I hadn't seen on the show before, is it looks like you're drinking from a mug.
Oh, Brent, it's about what's in the mug. I wouldn't worry about the actual container itself. Worry about what's in the container.
Excellent. Well, I'm gathering it's not coffee then. I know that Oracle is definitely not drinking coffee. Right, let's move on to the next game then. It's the Crusaders up against the Reds. The Reds, they let me down last week. They didn't. This is the game that Oracle won the money. He was on the Sharks, but a lot of us were on the Reds last week. They were quite disappointing at the end of the day. And I see this handicap has blown out a little bit. There was some sort of 21.5 early in the week. We're now looking at Crusaders minus 24.5. And Oracle, let me start with you on this one. Any interest for you?
There will be interest, Brent. When I see a movement like this, I say, hang on, let's wait. There are guys that have got the early minuses on Crusaders. Might be guys that even got 19 or 20 or 21 or whatever it was. I'm okay. I'm all right with that. Initially, I'd say at 15 or 16, maybe even 18, possibly 19, I'm a minus punter. But once this gets into the high 20s, the money will come. The bigger punters will look at this and go, that's too big. And it will get to a point where it's too big. And, it's sort of 25s, 26s, I'm a plus punter. But right now, no interest. I will watch the market and see how we go.
Excellent. Just say, if you look at the scrolling down below, this will be available as a podcast shortly after the show on most of the major podcast platforms. If you can't watch it on YouTube and you don't want to see our made-for-radio faces, then you can at least listen to the podcast. Conductor, your opinion on this game?
Brent, before we get there, I just want to ask, is it quite windy where you are? Because it's picking up. It sounds like you're sitting there in the Cape.
Oh, you know what? That'll drop it a little bit. I've got a fan on me here. So
okay.
yes.
Yeah, he's got a fan on the conditioner.
It sounds like you're busy trying to film the perfect storm in the background there.
Oh, thanks for alerting me to that. You spot on, yes, I got the fan going there. Of course, now I'm going to start sweating up like a racehorse.
Yeah, Brent. As I said, look, I've been getting involved in that Brumbies game. As I said, I like that game. To be honest, I haven't picked out anything on this game that I like too much in terms of the Reds Crusaders. As Henrik pointed out this morning, it is a bit of a weird Crusaders side. I don't like Inari at 9 and the number 12 does normally play wing for Canterbury. So it's I don't know. It's not a premium Canterbury side, if I could put it that way. And also, to me, the Crusaders haven't been as clinical as they've been in the past. So I'll only go small here, but I'll take a small Reds plus 11.5 halftime handicap. I think they'll maybe put up a hard 20, 25, 30 minutes with that big scrum of theirs. And then I'll probably, guys like Sevier Reese and George Bridge breaking free and breaking through. But that's about it for me on this game. I can't see anything there that stands out to me.
Right, Oracle?
Yeah, again, as I said, plus for me on this particular game. I quite like Conductor's halftime play. I don't often get involved in halftime plays, but I think you're right. I think if the plus is going to arrive, it's going to have to be a good first half. I think if the Crusaders get their nails into this one or boots into this one, they'll probably smash them in the last 20 minutes. So it was one of those. You're sitting on plus 24, plus 25. I hear your plus 11. You probably hang around Conductor, probably get plus 12 or plus 13 halftime. General time they go half the full-time handicap. But yeah, you probably got more chance of winning the halftime one than you do the full-time one because of those last 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm a plus punter, yeah, but very small, honestly, very small.
Well, yeah. I won't tell you what my selection was. Sorry, Conductor.
You're going to go Crusaders?
I actually put Crusaders halftime handicap on the good for the game preview, so we'll be shouting opposite directions. I should have.
Look, Brent, it can easily come in there. Look, I mean, I'll stick my hand up, and I called the Reds terribly last week, even with the ref that was trying his best to give it to them. The Sharks outplayed 16 men there quite easily. I just cannot understand how in all of Australia you don't have one guy who can kick for poles. I don't know why O'Connor doesn't kick, but that Jock Campbell, I mean, get the under 13A Glenwood captain to get in there. He'll slot those kicks because Jock Campbell is absolutely shocking off the tee. So that's the only thing. That's the only worry. If the Reds do put score a 5-pointer, unless it's right in front of the poles, that's the only concern with regards to keeping within that 11.5.
Yeah, I'm also amazed at the quality of some of the place kicking. I didn't watch last week's Red Sharks game because I was at a polo tournament, but I was following on my phone, and I couldn't believe it. All I just saw was this, what's his name, Jock Campbell, getting absolutely slated by all the guys on Twitter and on the WhatsApp groups. So that brings us then to the third game on Friday. This is kicking off at 10:15 South African time. It's the Waratahs against the Chiefs. And Conductor, I saw in the Good for the Game forum earlier in the week, Southpaw came on and he said Chiefs minus 8.5. He made a bit of a case for them. I went for it in the Good for the Game preview as well. And are you going to be rubber stamping this one?
Yeah, Brent. I very much like the Chiefs. It's if you look at the record, you actually wouldn't take the Chiefs on the minus there. I think the Waratahs have covered that handicap, I think 9 or 10 times out of 10. Their record in Sydney against the Chiefs is very good. But, you need to go back and say, okay, what kind of players did they have when they were playing the Chiefs? Guys like Izzy Folau and Adam Ashley Cooper and Kurtley Beale at their sort of best, and, big guys like Tekelenaya Voro and, they had sort of a couple of bigger names in the lock department. But, Daryl Gibson has left a trail there like a coronavirus in a Chinese village. He's absolutely destroyed the Tars. This week, Jake Gordon's out, Rob Simmons out. So they got a couple of injuries. I like Gatland. Most of the guys are back for the Chiefs, with the exception of Damien McKenzie. He's on that rest protocol, etc. So so Anthony Leonard-Brown, guys like Alemano, Sean Stevenson, and I think the biggest plus there for the Chiefs is Brad Weber. I think he's a game changer. I don't like that the triple T guy. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. He was poor against the Brumbies. So I very much like the Chiefs here on the minus. And once again, I like to look at the points here. I think the points line was in and around 48. And I'd like to look at maybe another unders there. Once again, the conditions won't be fantastic. It's going to be a second game on the same field. So probably not the best field. It's probably a bit churned up, etc. So, and I can't see this task side scoring many points. They put 19 past a terrible Lions side in that first half, and then scored 10 points, I think, in about 60 minutes or something like that. So, once they put those 3 tries past, they didn't score many after that. So I'm expecting a bit of a better Chiefs defense. I like the minus 8.5, and I like the under 48.5.
Right, and I guess the interesting thing here, Conductor, on total points is that you do get to watch the earlier game. And obviously the Lions are going to be out, the Lions will be out in this game, and you can probably make some assessments by what you see in the Sunwolves Brumbies game. And it might well be just worth keeping an eye on. If you see, for example, the field getting churned up, or you pick up the humidity is very high, then quickly get on the unders in the total points in that game. Let's go, though, to the Oracle and see what his thoughts are on this one. Oracle, we're all going for the Chiefs at this point. Now, historically, you tend to come out against everyone else on these games. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah, never mind watching the earlier game, Brent. We should be phoning Hein. I mean, Hein's currently traveling in Australia, and he's been at the last 2 Australian games. There's no reason why he won't be at this double header. So, maybe. And in fact, I'm going to suggest that he might even be there 4 hours earlier than the first kickoff. I mean, he was so early at last week's game. It's unbelievable. It's almost like he'd slept in the stadium and woken up and showed his tickets that he was allowed to stay longer. I don't know. But anyway, Han, if you're watching, let us know what's going on with that game. Yeah, I am on the minus here. I'm going with you. I'm not massive here, but I do think it's the right way to go. I think the Waratahs have been absolutely horrendous. I've lost money on them this particular year, and I'm probably going to lose more money if I get this one wrong. In fact, I will lose more money if I get this wrong. I'm going for the Chiefs. I think they've had a decent start. I think this handicap's low enough to get my interest. It's a single digit. Double digits, I'd probably be thinking again. But at the 8s or 9s, I'm definitely a Chiefs minus punter. I think they've got a better team. I'm not too worried about the weather personally. I think they'll do the business. In fact, the Chiefs will probably be the best of the New Zealand teams this year. I think they're doing a little bit better, or they appear to be doing a little bit better than the Crusaders. Obviously, the Blues is an enigma that nobody can really understand. But, yeah, for me, Chiefs minus, small play. Won't get heavily involved, but I am on the minus.
Right, I'm just scrolling down below. If you do want to subscribe to the Good for Game newsletter that'll come out on Friday, I must be honest with you, we haven't been on the greatest of form of late. Our best bets just haven't been arriving. But tomorrow morning, the newsletter will be coming out probably quite early, and we'll have our best bet for the weekend there. Let's see if we can land it. I'll also throw in a 10-1 accumulator. Due to land one of those, it's also been a few weeks, so hoping to break the drought there. There is a link to subscribe in the description box below, and also a link to the Good for the Game forum rugby thread. So it looks like we're all on the Chiefs for this one. Sean just making the point that the Aussie hookers haven't turned up for training since Hein landed, and those who watch the show on a regular basis will certainly know what he means by that one. Let's go on then, guys, to Saturday's action. And the first game is the Hurricanes up against the Blues. And the Blues, of course, traveling back from a successful trip to South Africa, beating the Bulls and the Stormers. And the handicap here, I'm just on Sunbet at the moment. I see Hurricanes minus 7.5, Blues plus 7.5 at 17 to 20. And sorry, the Hurricanes are 19 to 20. Oracle, where's your money?
Yeah, just this particular game, I've banned myself from backing the Blues. And when I say that, and I've had this conversation with many, and I'm sure you've had the same kind of conversation with someone, when you get something so wrong so regularly, you say, listen, I'm not getting involved. So whatever your unit is, you're going half or quarter or 10%, I'll have the odd fun bet. And this is a fun bet for me. I'm not even going to bother with a handicap here. I'm going for the Blues to win this game. I've got them wrong so much that they owe me so much money that it's just a tiniest of bets, a tenth of a unit, and I'm calling the Blues on the board. In fact, I'm going to call the Blues minus 5. They're going to win this game comfortably. But unfortunately, my discipline and my brain and everything sober about me is saying, do not touch this game. I'm going to have a small flutter. I'm going for the Blues to win the game. Tiny.
Right. And Ruan just pointing out, for those who do fancy the Hurricanes, is -6.5 at World Sports Betting. Conductor, I hear exactly what the Oracle's saying there. You know, sometimes you look at a game, the handicap looks well set. You know, maybe in this case you feel the Blues owe you, or you just feel that there may be something about this Blue side this year. And have a smaller bet, take the bigger price on the board. You know, if it fails, you may not. Let's bring Oracle in first. But if it fails, you haven't done too much damage.
Say, Brent, you said they had a good tour. I got to say, I mean, I did win on the plus against the Stormers. I lost on the Bulls game the week before. But I've got to say, this Blues team coming to South Africa and going away with the points that they got isn't just good. This is fantastic. There's not a single one of those Blues players, fans, coaching staff, owners, shareholders, whoever they are, they got a big smile on their face, I promise you. They're coming back to New Zealand. They are so motivated. They're so happy. And whatever they had before that and last year, they've forgotten about that. They are going back to New Zealand with the knowledge that they came here, they smashed the Stormers, and they beat the Bulls. And they came back and beat the Bulls. And it was a massive game. I think they had a fantastic, if not extraordinary, trip to South Africa. A trip that, honestly, we haven't seen the likes of even New Zealand teams coming here and going away with this kind of I don't know, self-belief, strength, whatever it is. They leaving South Africa, promise you, whatever their number is out of 10 of commitment and happiness and whatever, they're very close to it. That was a fantastic tour for them.
Yeah, okay, maybe I understated that, but certainly getting the 2 wins on the road is great for them. But they're going to have to do it against, the Blues have always struggled away against New Zealand sides, and I see Brad Breath coming in here now. And Brad, hoping to get your comments on the Six Nations as well. And he says Hurricanes to win easily. Conductor?
Brent, sorry, before we go on, I didn't mention it in the previous game because I think I misread the points line for the Waratahs. I see, I think Sean and the guys pointing out the Tars points is at 21. That is an absolute gift. That is, I think what the guys are saying is 100% correct. Tars under 21 in very slippery, sticky, rainy conditions, right? Basically sitting in the boulders there as the wave breaks over the field. I think that's a great little bet there. So, no, I think under 21 is a great play there, guys. Well done for pointing that out. So I think that's a good play to go for. That's a cracker. Because I can't see. I think the Tars handling is still absolutely pathetic, despite scoring 1 or 2 tries early on against the Lions. But getting on to the Hurricanes, I hear what Gav is saying, and I'm a bit different there. I'm big on the handicap there. This is my best bet of the week. I got -5.5. I see there's still -6.5 available. As Gav says, they have had a really good tour. They beat a very poor Bull side. I think Mani Liebach beat themselves that night. And to me, the Stormers were a bit asleep that game in Cape Town last week. That cost me also massively. I think we all expected the Stormers to come out and absolutely thump them in the scrum. First of all, they really did well. The only thing I would say is a bit of a negative to the Blues is they've literally played 5 on the trot, and that includes 1 against the Chiefs, 1 against the Crusaders, and the tour to South Africa where the Hurricanes have only played 4. Look, they did have a bit of a nightmare going to South Africa, then to Argentina, then back to New Zealand, but they've had a week's rest before that Sunwolves game. They're bringing back Geordie Barrett. He'll be a good plus for them. And it's a full strength Hurricanes team. I think the Hurricanes have covered this handicap 4 out of 6 times. So without trying to be too arrogant, as some people pointed out to me after my race prediction, this is my best bet for the week. I like the Hurricanes here. The Blues have played well, but just not against New Zealand teams.
Right. So you going Hurricanes there, Brad Breath, in agreement with you. So the panel a little bit split. I must say, I do like, you know me, I'm quite a Blues man, and I can actually see the case for both of you. I'm probably not going to have a bet on this game because I can see the Blues winning it on the board. But if I really had to, put a bigger bet down, I definitely would be going rather for the Hurricanes here, just purely based on the Blues record in New Zealand. Let's go on to the next game, Conductor, and we'll stick with you. It's the Rebels up against the Lions. Now, this game, we've got the Rebels minus 5.5 points, Lions plus 5.5. Lions very disappointing last week against the Waratahs, and the Rebels showing signs that they could be coming right because they started the season very badly as well.
Well, Brent, absolutely. I mean, that was a incredible sort of 30 minutes against the Highlanders last week. Really clicked. They've kept fairly much the same side. I just can't think of who else they've changed, but I think they've only made 1 or 2 changes. So it's fairly much the same Rebels side. Against the Lions have finally brought in Similani. How that guy didn't start last week against the Tars was a mystery. They've brought in the dump truck, Willem Alberts. Seem to have got bigger and bigger. He just seems to sort of grow every week. And
yes, Glenwood, yes. He'll play scrum off. He'll play scrum off for Glenwood, Gavin.
Yeah, some of that super S juice they have there in the KwaZulu-Natal that they give to the under-13. So now he's getting bigger and bigger every week. I still don't rate this Lions side. I back them a little bit against the Tars, just purely because the Tars are a bit crap. But I think the Rebels starting to click. Looks like Tamua is starting to find his feet. As long as Lawrence starts at 9, they look heaps better. I really like. This is my second best bet. I like the Rebels to cover here. The Lions were very disappointing in that first 25 minutes. They looked like they just couldn't make a tackle. Look, that could have been also because they had a week off, and that's not always a good thing in rugby. They looked like they were caught a bit cold there. I don't know. I don't know who the referee is. I think it might be Angus Gardner. Sorry, let me just check quickly. James Dolman.
I'm just giving everyone a close-up of the Oracle.
Brent, I'm on
a bit.
What's that, Gavin?
So my head's too high. I'm going to have to bring it down to.
I'll go. I'll go back out to that. I'll go back out to that one. Sorry, Conductor, carry on there, mate.
Yeah, no, guys. So, like I said, I'm on the Rebels there. I think they're starting to click. I just don't think I don't think the Lions have the horses to do it. Yeah.
Right, Gavin. Any comments on that one?
Yeah. Look, everyone knows I'm a Lions supporter, but I'm going to try and keep this out of it. And I was on the Lions with everybody else the last time out. This Rebels team is absolute rubbish. I'm sorry. They're at the bottom of the pit. They'd probably draw 0-0 with the Sunwolves if they had to play again. I saw the tractors on the side of the field. I don't know, having millies, and they weren't interested in rugby. I don't know whether they're playing this game, but if it's in Melbourne, I suppose the Rebels do have a bit of a chance. But if they're playing in another farming community, Rebels have got no chance. This one's race over. The Lions will win this game, never mind the plus. I'm not going to call it my best bet because there is a bit of bias there. I am on the Lions to win the game on the board. I'm not backing them on the plus. I just think they're a decent side. They've had their problems, but honestly, the Rebels are so rubbish that anybody can beat the Rebels.
Well, yeah, Conductor, I don't know about you, but I'm sensing a bet between the two of you here. I know last week you guys broke square, but I'm saying an even 500. What is the handicap? 5.5 points?
The 5.5. Let's lay 5.5. So, what's if 5 is a draw, 6 I'm a winner.
5.5. I'll take 5.5. If you were shouting 4.5, and I'm looking for 5. I mean, I'm looking for 5.5. No, we'll go 5.5. I'm happy.
So 6 I'm a winner.
6-year winner, 5-year loser.
100%.
Excellent. That's an even 500 between the guys there. So, yeah.
I think he was waiting for a bet there. He was just looking for a bit of confidence out of me. Finally found it. Keeps chucking his bait into the water. He'll get something out of me every week.
He knows, though. He knows he'll come right in the end. Guys, let's move on to the Sharks up against Jaguares. That's down in Durban. The Sharks have won 3 out of 4 on the road, and they now come back to Durban, where over the years I've often made the comment that the Sharks often battle in Durban. And they've got such an exciting side, and of course now they come back to potentially humid conditions. But Gavin, I guess you can tell us more about conditions. Have we started reaching the time of the year where the humidity drops off in Durban?
Yeah, we were supposed to play tennis tonight, Brent. Unfortunately, we didn't play tennis. We went to the George in Umhlanga, so anyone who's been there, Tennis doesn't happen after you've arrived at the George. You never go and play tennis afterwards. It's been fantastic. I'm not sweating. I see you battling with a fan. I haven't used a fan in years. It's either aircon or no aircon. I'm currently sitting outside, so it's a crisp 20-odd degrees. But I was in Durban earlier in the evening, and it was very nice. I wasn't sweating. I think if the temperature stays the way it is, it's been a very nice week. We had some nice sunshine, and not too much clouds, not a lot of humidity. Honestly, it's been very nice. We go out for our odd smoke break during the day, and it's been very nice. So, yeah, no problems with the weather. But I got to tell you, Brent, as much as I like the Jaguares, and everybody on this watching the show knows I'm all over them. And I've never met this Sean Everett. Like, I've never shook his hand with us. I've seen him in public. And one of the guys that sits opposite me, Donovan, at work, he's quite he knows Sean quite well. And I've never been a huge Sharks fan, but I got to tell you, this week, whatever the handicap is, the Sharks will smash them. This Sharks team is the business. I'm going to go as far as to say, never mind them making the playoffs. The final will possibly be in Durban. I'd like to think it will be in Durban. I think the Sharks will win this tournament. I think the Sharks team looks so good. I was on them last week, despite you guys going against me. There's something about them. I just think that everything's working. I heard an interview on East Coast Radio last night with Noche, Sigumbuta Noche. And, that oak was just all about the camaraderie and the guys welcoming him in. And Sean Everett saying, listen, play your own game. And I've heard coaches say that to my kid. There's a game plan. You've got this and this to do. But just get out there and just play the way you want to play rugby. And I like that. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the game because it's the local KZN Schools opening weekend this weekend. So I'm up at Schools Rugby. And Schools Rugby, unfortunately, needs to speak to KZN Rugby to get, I'm going to go to a ground on Saturday where there's going to be 5,000 people watching a first team match. And there'll be another 6 or 7 of them around the province. And they're playing a game at 3:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't make it. I'll never get there in time. It's impossible. Even the guys at DHS and Northwood, they'll never get to that game, even Glenwood for that matter. I think KZN Rugby needs to speak to the schools and get those games a little bit later so we can go, or get the first team games early at the schools so we can go to the 3 o'clock games. But honestly, I think the Sharks will win this game in the 20s, possibly even 30s. I think the Jaguares were lucky to win last week. They pitched up. They found a very mediocre to poor Bulls team. Unfortunately, that's where I got the Bulls wrong. I've got them wrong 3 weeks in a row. Last week wasn't good Jaguares. This was bad Bulls. In fact, it was atrocious Bulls. This Jaguares team this year, I liked them at the start before they kicked the ball. I thought they were going to have a good season, but I'm retracting that. I got it wrong. The Sharks are the business. Sharks will qualify. Sharks will be in the semi-final in Durban. They'll be in the final in Durban. And Sharks will win this tournament. You can take whatever minus you like with confidence. This one is race over. You can put whatever money you can get your hands on. Sharks will win this game comfortably. Doesn't matter what weather, but I do say the weather does look good for the weekend, but it doesn't matter the weather. Sharks will put this team away.
Oh, there is -4.5 on the handicap. Just hearing that some of the boys are not going to make the game. At least the Glenwood boys can drive themselves there. Don't have to rely on their parents. But bringing you in now. This one, -4.5 is the handicap here.
So what you're saying is, if you ever go to a game and you need an oak to buy you a beer, you just ask the under 13A captain from Glenwood to buy you a beer, and he's in.
That's it.
I'll tell you what, it's actually quite worrying to see Gav so badly sitting on the fence there. I can't decide if the Sharks are going to win and the Jags are going to win. It's very, very 50-50 with his call.
He reminds me of you and Puerto Himan. He reminds me of you and Puerto Himan last week. No one could tell if you were a Puerto Himan fan or not.
Best mates. Now I got some threatening phone calls.
I just want to mention something, just in case you didn't get it. But the Sharks minus is definitely my best bet of the weekend.
No, Brent. I am a Sharks fan, and but you know that betting and supporting is two different fields. And I went for the Reds last week, and I was incredibly impressed with the way the Sharks played. Dylan Richardson, who's actually a hooker played hooker for the under-20s, came on and he was an absolute beast. I thought Henko Fenter was incredible. I thought all the guys that were there, just the intensity on defense, I thought where the Reds would have a little gap there would be in that scrum, and our scrum was rock solid, if not better than the Reds scrum, and that was quite a surprise. We rattled them at lineouts. So incredible Sharks performance, and I agree with what Gav is saying. I saw some of the videos of the Sharks guys training, it's high fives the whole time. It looks like whatever the Bulls training setup is exactly the opposite of that. The Oaks are quite happy, and the sun is shining, and the Oaks are winning. So it looks like it's a happy camp. The Jaguars traditionally haven't done well in Durban, although that there was one blip last year, I think, where they scored 51 points to 17, and I think that was more of a blip than the norm. So the Jags are putting out quite a strong side. I think Jacques and Tukelet is back at 15. They've got one or two debutants that they're rolling out there. So it's pretty much their best side that they can put in. So but at least for the Sharks, Pimpy is back, and Corsi is back, and it's literally the first string side. So I'm not as confident as Gav is on the minus. I think I'm just going to just do a straight 6-10 Sharks win there. I was hoping there was going to be a bit more humidity. That's why I was actually wondering what Gav was going to say about the humidity. Being March in Durban, I thought there'd still be a lot of humidity around, but I was hoping to go points under on this game, but I'll probably stay away from that. Go Sharks straight.
I'm actually thinking, Gavin said there's no humidity. It'd be interesting to see the points line on this game, because these are the sort of games now where bookmakers are obviously basing it on the usual humid conditions in Durban. So we might actually get a possibility of an overs play, if the line is low enough. Because there's one thing about this Sharks side: if they are playing in good conditions, they are a side that's going to score a lot of tries. And I think I could actually, if the humidity does stay away, this could be a game where I'll be looking to go overs. But you boys have convinced me. I was a little bit undecided on this one. I'm going to be going with the Sharks here as well. I think, Conductor, what we'll do is we'll throw the 6-10 into the ACCA tomorrow in the newsletter. But I like Gavin's confidence on this one as well. Let's move on to the final Super Rugby game of the weekend. It's the Bulls against the Highlanders. The Bulls have been so disappointing. I'm going to start with Oracle so that Conductor can have the final word on the Bulls, really. But here we got the Bulls. I'm just looking at 8-10 to win the game in regular time, draw no bet. And the Highlanders are even money, and that's at Sunbet. Oracle, can the Bulls get a win?
Yeah, look, they should, Brent, but honestly, they've been so rubbish. But at the same time, geez, I got nothing for the Highlanders. I remember 2 years ago, I had a massive punt on this fixture. I went Bulls. In fact, I got into a Twitter argument with a Yellow Cap and a few other guys. And in fact, I just got so cross with me about this match. I didn't tell my wife, but I had massive money on this. We're talking double digits, and the first number wasn't a 1. It was huge money. I did cover the handicap, so I actually got out of it a bit because the Bulls were plus. Did you
say double digits? So double digits like 20 Rand. That's a double digit.
Yeah, no, it's grand. Geez, not odds. Geez. That's not huge. I'd so much. I had a Brian, guys sitting around, and I was on the edge, and I don't know. I had so much money on the Bulls to win the game that my handicap, I'd actually made a mistake mathematically, and I don't often make those. But I ended up winning about 250 Rand because the handicap arrived, but the Bulls didn't win the game. And like the money coming back to the bank account was like so huge. It was just ridiculous. And I had like, it was bank fees that arrived back. That's all it was. It was so small. It was just it didn't even pay for the beers I had at my house at night. But Ike's were trying to talk to me in the lounge. I had about 6 guys around there. And I'm like, I'm not listening to anybody. I'm watching this game. And I can't remember exactly, but I just know that something happened at the end and the Highlanders got a penalty and they won the game by 1 or 2. And it was just ridiculous. But anyway, I'd like to say the Highlanders are going to win this game easily, but I just don't have the confidence. And I'm actually going to call this one no bet. I have absolutely nothing for either of these two teams. I don't know how that Highlanders team went to Australia and beat the Brumbies, and then to come back and lose to the Rebels. This is crap versus crap, and this is actually big C, big R, big A, big P versus the same thing. This is if you arrived at this game and you're in front, seriously, rather switch the TV off and watch something else. don't even get involved in this game. This is crap versus crap at a superior level. It's like we haven't seen in a while. I'm not touching this game.
Conductor, what do you think? Can the Bulls get the win? I mean, last week they were very disappointing against the Jaguares.
Yeah, Brent, I received some interesting messages during the week from some of my Pretoria brethren. So I must say, I think Coach Human is a great coach. The Bulls are they've got a great setup. They've just been robbed the last couple of weeks. No, I must say, how bad? I mean, how much against the Bulls has everyone in this tournament been? Shocking. But no, the Bulls are rubbish. As I said, that Put Human's game plan is from the 77 Lions series. I think all that's missing is a call of 9 to 9 starts hitting Oaks off the park, etc. But no, I think they've brought in a couple of youngsters. Ron Nokia, Groenewald from the Griquas. Well, he's not a youngster; he's 27. They brought in that number 8 is also a youngster. He was and the 20s guy. Now there he is in all his glory. And that was actually at the game. You can see a fan to the top right there. Before the 8 Oaks got kicked out, that was a sort of picture there. So, I think they brought in Libok, and I don't know why Oaks are rating him so highly. Yes, he's better than. Probably a bit better than Morné Steyn, but no, he's in no great shakes. But also looking at that Highlanders team, nothing fantastic there. Also, guys like Jesse Parate. Jesse Parate is lucky to make the RTM Cup. He's also crap. I mean, they've got some, guys like Aaron Smith are okay, but cheesy, and they really got some journeymen. So I've thought long and hard about this game, and I'll use an expression that Dad uses, and it's actually a great expression. This game can win without my money. It's you can only lose money here. Any guy that says you put money on the Bulls, I'd say great bets. If you put money on the Highlanders, I'd also say great bets. I've got no idea who's going to win here. I would say maybe the Bulls will win purely out of home, home stadium, half felt, etc. But once again, those 8 fans that were kicked out after they were fighting, that was the 8 fans that were there. So I don't know who's going to be watching the game. But I've pushed. If I've got a bit of money left over after the rest of the games, I'll maybe put a little bit on Bulls -2.5. But I think that's about it. Nothing. Please don't try and dig yourself out of a hole with this game.
Correct. You're 100% right, Conductor. Do not use this game to make more money or to lose more money. Just don't do it. Just get out of there. I'm very surprised that they kicked those 8 Oaks out. I'd like to know where they got the alcohol. Because my last game at Loftus was with Brent, and I battled to get a beer out of that place. I don't even recommend anyone goes to watch there. Never mind the fact that there's rugby going on. It was a difficult stadium to get a beer. It was a difficult stadium to get into. I don't know. It was okay, but it certainly wasn't as good as Ellis Park or Newlands or even Kings Park for that matter. But honestly, Conductor's 100% right here. Don't use this game for anything else other than a fun bet. And whatever your unit is, you need to start dividing by more than 10 to find out how much you're putting on this game.
Well, Gab, the problem is, like I said, I've watched many a Blue Bulls game, and I've watched when they allowed beer in the stadium, and I've watched when they didn't allow beer in the stadium. And can I tell you what? The disaster is when they stopped beer in the stadium. What guys would do is they would get so pumped with brandy, and they'd sort of walk in half round. And as you know, brandy has no brakes. So the Oaks is one way after half time. So yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. It's anybody that's going to confidently put money on this game is interesting. It's an interesting bet. Yeah, it's 2 very rubbish teams in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, both of you, call a winner here, and I'm going to go an even 50 Rand. Seriously, that's it. But I'll take the bet. I'll go whatever you guys choose. I'll go the other way, just for a bit of fun so I can watch it.
I'll go Bulls.
Me too.
All right, I'm on the Highlanders, 50 each. That's all I'm doing. I'm out.
Well, Conductor, we've learned 2 things about brandy tonight. It has no brakes and it can be drunk out of mug. That's all I can. Guys, that brings us to the end of Super Rugby. Let's go into the Six Nations and then we'll wrap up with our with our best bets. And the conductor, if you do have anything else across Europe, you're welcome to shout as well. But the first Six Nations game, we've obviously just got the 2 games taking place this weekend. It's England against Wales. I see the handicap here, England minus 11.5 at home against the Welsh. Conductor, I'll start with you.
Yeah, Brent, I was very impressed with England versus Ireland. I thought they had an absolutely superb game. So, look, most of my money, to be honest, most of my money is going on the Super Rugby. Then I'll look at sevens on Saturday night. So I've put a small punt down on England minus 11.5. Yeah, nothing amazing. To me, the Welsh haven't been great. Lost at home to France. They just haven't been. The France that won that the Six Nations, I think last year it was. It just seems like Wayne Pivac has come in and trying to sort of play a different kind of game that Gatland had for so many years, playing that Warren ball, and it's just they totally one mindset. It switched them completely. It's a bit tough. So I like England there on the minus 11.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think the English are going to put this Welsh team away. I don't like this Welsh team. I wasn't impressed with them. I mean, they're fighters and all the rest, but to me, they lack the attacking flair. And I think England are going to put them away. And interested to see now if Oracle agrees with us.
I don't agree, Brent, but mine's a very small non-agreement. Look, I'm just going to go back to the same mathematical thing I look at a lot of games. You're going to give me a double-digit Welsh plus. I'm taking it. I don't care who they play. Double digits, Welsh plus. I'm going to take that. You are right. It's not a fantastic Welsh team, but at the same time, the English haven't shot the lights out either. When France beat both of these teams, so yeah, I think France are obviously going to win this tournament easily if they even get to it. I'd like to get a bit of minus coronavirus if I can get it. I don't know. I don't want to be on the plus on that one. I'd like to go minus, but Welsh plus for me. Not a small bet, same as you guys. Not a big bet, very small bet for me, but I will watch the game and I will have a bet on it.
Excellent. Just to mention to the guys, just quickly to divert the Vancouver Sevens this weekend, we are chatting with Sean and Son of a Punt. We might do a show tomorrow night to see if it can work out for everyone. Otherwise, keep your eyes on the forum and, of course, follow the boys on Twitter with all of their tips there as they look to take on the bookmakers again. Gavin, let's start with you then for the second and final game of the Six Nations this weekend. We've got Scotland against France. France very much in the running for the Grand Slam. And you've got Scotland at home plus 5.5 points. And the question is, can France continue this form that looks to be taking them to the Six Nations title?
They can, absolutely. If the Sharks is my biggest bet of the weekend, this one's my second biggest. 2 years ago, the same fixture, obviously, as we know with Super Rugby, it's reversed. 2 years ago, I was all over Scottish against France. The Scottish had played very well the year before and had a decent start. I'm going to tell you that minus 5.5, it was exactly the same handicap as it was 2 years ago. I'm all over the minus 5.5 France here. And this is definitely the second best bet of the weekend. I don't think Scotland in fact, I know Scotland haven't shown me what they have over the last couple of years. And France, well, they just shooting the lights out. They're doing better than I'd even expected them to do. This particular fixture, France will win this. They'll win it easily. And, that's my second best bet of the weekend. So if you're looking for a double, your only double of the weekend, Sharks minus, France minus, you won't go wrong.
Excellent. Conductor, you in agreement on this one? Bearing in mind that I fancy France to win the 2023 World Cup by some distance.
Look, Brent, I think that's a crack of a bet. I hope you're keeping up with those monthly debit orders.
50 Rand a week.
I think you want to keep it up. I mean, by the time France runs that World Cup, it's really substantial. So your kid will either be able to attend Cambridge or it's going to be the Technicon. So it's going to only be one or the other if France pull off.
Campbell to Eton. What a spread.
So, Brent, Scotland have done well against France in the last couple of fixtures. Yeah, I think they've won the last 3 at home. I think Neil, I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing his surname correctly, Hoogvaaf from Thoughts on.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So he did a good, preview on this in terms of how well Scotland have played against France. This is a completely different French side. I've been incredibly impressed. I thought they would take maybe a year or two to click, but they've really clicked, from the get-go. I mean, they beat Wales in Wales. played very well against England. Look, I expect them to come in on that handicap, but the bet that I have gone for is Scotland halftime, France full time 11-2. I like that. I like Scotland to try and hold it out for 40 minutes, and I think the French class is to show too much. And those forwards of theirs have been incredible. The back line's been good. The defense has been substantial. So. I like, look at their past record that Scotland's done well, so I like that them to lead at halftime.
Excellent. Yeah, I also fancy that a little bit. I do fancy the French ultimately to get up on the handicap here as well. I rate them quite highly. That brings us to the end of the weekend's fixtures. Conductor, I'll stay with you quickly. Anything else in Europe? I haven't even looked what club rugby's on in Europe. Anything you picked up that you want to share?
Brent, the only game that I'm really looking at is in the English Premiership. Worcester at home to Northampton Saints. Look, Saints have really dropped off quite badly, so they've lost the last 4. I saw Chris Boyd during the week. He sort of obviously acknowledged, they've come close. They've been really close in the games. They were 12 points up against Saracens, then got a double yellow card, which basically killed all the momentum. Saracens came back and won the game. Saints still had their chances. They've been playing good rugby, just haven't had to bounce the ball. So. I just think Saints have got too much quality. I think they'll do the job there at Worcester. So I like Saints -2.5 there. Obviously subject to the team sheet, but I expect the Northampton to do the job there. Other than that, I don't think there's any top 14. There's no top 14, and the only Pro 14 game is Dragons Benetton, which I won't be involved in. There's too many internationals for Benetton missing, etc. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Excellent. And then your best bet for the weekend?
The Canes.
Hurricanes on the minus. Let's go up to Gavin. Gavin, anything in Europe from you?
I think that Conductor might be slightly wrong with his anticipation that the Benetton players are with Italy. I don't think they are. I don't think there's a game this weekend for them. Although they may be rested, I don't think they will. I think the club will probably have a go at them. I'm not touching any European rugby this weekend. Going to get involved in the sevens. I haven't even looked at the fixtures yet. But seriously, my biggest bet, Sharks minus, second biggest, France minus. And if you want to keep your funds low and win more money, take the double. And you know what? If you want a treble, then, I don't know. Pick the best team you can. I can't even find a treble. The other games are too small for me. I won't call them.
Excellent. Well, guys, you can go down below and subscribe to the Good for the Game newsletter. We'll have the best bets. I've certainly got a lot of ammo from these guys in terms of an accumulator. There were quite a few games where we had some alignment, or if we weren't aligned, one of the guys was very, very bullish on it. But Conductor, thanks very much for joining us on the show. Thanks also to all of the guys who came in on the live chat, and thanks to Gavin as well. Good to see you, Gav. Cheers, Conductor,
no
and thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy your evening. Cheers, everybody.
And the closing word from Puerto, from the 4 of us. Thanks very much for watching the show. I look forward to next week as well. And let's hope we can hit those bookies hard. Thanks, everyone.